everyone, Laura Lynn from the Mom and Pop Quilt Shop here. Welcome to Weekend Project. We're not using this machine this time around to sew. We're actually using these machines to sew. This is actually an antique quilt that has been hand sewn together. I'll show you on the side. I'm repairing it with various fabrics that my customer has given me to use on it, and stuff that I have pulled from my own collection. A couple of ties that had very similar color and shape and style to some of the pieces that were fading in here. So this is what I've been unpicking out. It's been very, very delicate, and I've had to use this lovely thing right here, magnifying glass, to help me, because some of the stitches are tiny, or the thread matches it so much, and I don't want to rip it anymore, because I need this as my base to get the piece to replace it, right? So, and that's what I was doing. So I'll show you on this side here. This was one of the corners I worked on. This is the fabric that she gave me to do, and some of these two pieces were right into here. So what I did is I took them out, gently unpicked them. These tools right here are your favorite friends, your little seam ripper, okay? And I gently picked it out. And so how it was constructed was, it's all hand sewn together, everything. And I want to keep with that tradition of hand sewing it together and piecing it back together by hand. So I want to keep with the integrity. So it was actually stitched down, like piece was flipped, and it's stitched down all the way down over across here. And then it's flipped again, and then you got your little seam allowance, and then it's hand right here, but not through to the back, just in the two layers. So these pieces were hand stitched to another piece of fabric, and then that fabric had a back on it. I'll show you right here. There we go. There we go. So this is what all the little pieces were being hand stitched to, and then this piece was attached to this backing fabric, which is right here. You could tell it's really faded. It actually had a lot of pink in it previously, but some of it's faded out. And then it was just bound, and it's been repaired before, because it actually has two different types of binding on it, in some sections, not in all sections. And then it was all hand stitched together. So this is a true treasure. It has no batting in it, no wool, no nothing. It's just been recycled not t-shirts, but anything. Like they put lace in here. I mean, must have been beautiful when it was put in, but probably maybe not the wisest fabric for a quilt. But hey, if that's all you got, by golly, use it. So, and it was beautiful. I mean, it was blue and brown, and that was the more intact pieces that I came across. And then for the brown, this was what I was trying to substitute, and then this a little bit. I mean, it's the same consistency. It'll stand up a bit better than what was in here. So I'll just show you what I was tucking away at here, which is gently pulling out the stitches. Like I said, this is your favorite tool, and as you can tell, it's each of these blocks, the backing, was sewn together as in a square. So I know it was a bit it's like, what am I doing? There's like a puzzle here going on. So you just have to be really careful and just pluck away. I'll just show you how I'm going to do this little section right here, or how I worked at it. It has all sorts of threads. I decided to keep with one consistent color because of what the colors I was working with. I figured the tan was the more ideal one. So, because it seemed to be a lot of the tan and beige sections had a lot of fadeness in it, and just coming apart. I mean, it's just been loved. There's nothing actually wrong with it, except it just, it's been extra loved. And some of the fabrics are not the best choice, right? But that's where our ideal cottons, quilting cottons, came from, and our ideal fabrics for quilts came from, because we want these beautiful pieces to last forever. So let's use the best kind of fabric we can, right? These are heirlooms and treasures that you want your family to carry down forever and ever. At least one would hope, anyways. And some layers have two, like you can see this for some reason, this plaid and the brown was over top of it. So I'm not sure if that was someone else trying to repair it previously. I'm not 100%. Maybe it kind of looks like there's a bit of the hand stitching. You can just see a little bit of the plaid sticking out there. But it seems to be fine for me. I'm leaving it there. So I'm only going to work on the pieces that you really need to take out. But I'd have to say it's been a true treasure to work on this too. So, and it's just been very gentle and picking those stitches out. If you see something even in the thrift store or something like that for a couple of bucks, or even, you know, less than 50 or something like that, and needs some extra love, and like, why not, right? Restore as treasure. Grab a couple old gentlemen shirts while you're there and use those pieces and cut it all up. Right. I think it's something that we should definitely be doing more often anyways. Cool. Just have to be patient. Just be patient. And they just use the basic up and down stitch. No, nothing fancy, no whip stitches or any applique stitches or anything like that. I noticed in some sections it's double thread, other sections just single thread. So I was kind of like, what do I do? So I just tried to keep it consistent throughout the whole, whatever I was patching. It is time consuming, but it's so worth it in the end. I really think so. I mean, I wish I'd started making quilts or had one that was, you know, handed down from family member to family member or something like that. But I didn't really know my grandparents, so I never knew of any such treasures like that. Just plug away. And that's why I think some of them just get put away. They get tucked in a drawer, and then they're not seen, you know? I think we need to just give them a little extra loving and patch them up with a couple of big old fabric Band-Aids and stitch them down and stitch them back together. Give them a little first aid. Okay. And you just work it out. And then you use that piece as your template. You know, I've been going just a little bit bigger just to make sure I had enough to tuck under and it wasn't going to pop up or anything like that, and to come around corners and stuff, you know, because these are all they're all angle pieces, right? So, or triangles, and they're not, you know, even triangles either. They're really all over the place. But I think that's what's so special about it. It's not exact in any way. Right? It's just perfect in its own way. Okay, we're almost there to the end. Like I said, it's going to take time, and you just got to give yourself patience and don't fret. You know, if you have to just, you know, chillax, put some music on or put your favorite show on. Work on it in your lap or, you know, on a table like I am where everything's kind of laid out. I've been working like one section at a time, but I mean, if you needed to, you can pick out all the pieces you needed and then just come back and put all the new pieces in together. So, but I'm just doing one little section at a time because I'm just kind of going around the quilt first, and then I'll work my way into the next square, and then the next square, and then the next square. And that's, to me, that's how I knew everything was going to get dealt with, right? I wasn't going to miss anybody in the whole repair process. Okay, we're almost there. A couple. See this? I got black thread in here. I got brown thread in here. I think I got a bit of blue. I did come across that I had to take some of the stitches that were actually stitching everything together apart. Like some of these guys, unfortunately, they happen to be on the one that was being stitched down that I needed to repair. But here we go. We're almost there. Just be gentle. And you got to think of all the different fabrics that are in here. Like some you would never even think about mixing together. You're like, oh, it's a fashion faux pas. Not the quilt. Everything goes. Okay, now it seems to be attached to the red. Like, oh, there we go. Couple little stitches there. Oops. Oh, I thought we had it. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. There we go. Okay. See, it took a little wrangling, but we got her done. Okay. See, look at that little tiniest little 1/4 seam allowance there. Like, are you kidding me? So that's why I was giving it, you know, a quarter and a quarter and a quarter, and giving it all extra space. So I'll show you what I'm going to do now that I've taken the time to pick that out. I'm keeping all these pieces, all the ones that I've taken out, so she can see the work that I've done. Don't throw them out or anything like that. Keep them. And you want to match this up the best you can to give yourself enough room. And I'm not going to take this edge. See how this edge is all stitched down here? You know, you can lay it out, but I don't know. It's already laying flat, so use that as a flat edge. Just add your 1/4 inch seam allowance to that, okay? And if you need chalk, chalk it out, pencil it out, whatever you need to do, or just use your rotary cutter. Hopefully the little camera can see there. Okay, and this is her fabric, so I'm going to be trying to be conservative with it. I don't want to be, you know, all using this whole big square to do one little triangle. I want to try and get a couple of triangles out of this little piece. I don't know how much she has of this, or any. I think that's all she has, so I really need to make it work for the rest of this quilt, so wherever it needs to be. Okay, so we'll do one side at a time. And I'm lining it up. You can see that little raw edge under there this is where the edge is, and I'm going to come all the way over to here. Oh, I don't want to even get that little tiny tail. You've got to get even all the little tiny tails, because this is what gets tucked in, hugging the next block. Okay. Okay, just flatten it out the best you can. All right. Line her up. It's almost a little bit invisible. And that's what gives it, you don't even get a chance to even possibly cut your template, because you're a 1/4 inch past it too. You're not taking the chance. Because you never know what she may want to do with these pieces afterwards, right? She may just throw them out, but, you know, she may put them behind glass or something. And, you know, this came from this quilt. So, you know, I got these little chunks, put them off to the side. Put your little edge at the 1/4. Okay. And see, that's how much bigger I did that piece. Okay. So that gives me lots of stuff, lots of fabric to work with to get it back into that tiny little corner. Okay. And then being able to stitch it to the other pieces. Okay. So we'll bring it back over here. Okay, we'll tuck those little red ones down in there. Actually, you know what? I probably just trim those because they're just going to get in the way. And I preload some needles with the thread that I'm using. I got this little needle nest. I've probably had it for about 20 years. I think it was originally bought from when I was doing cross stitch and stuff like that. It's a little magnet table, and your needles just sit right on there. So I've already preloaded a couple. I find that's the easiest to do. Don't, you know, just get 2, work on 2, and putter off to something else. That way you don't get too frustrated, okay? So because this was tacked down a little bit different, because this one was repaired, we're going to do here, we're going to tack it this way, or sew it this way, and then flip this piece, tuck whatever edges that we need to underneath here where they need to go, and then sew up again, okay? So let me just line that up. Okay. And then just make sure by doing a little fold that you have enough of a tail to be able to tuck in there to give that nice point. That's what it started off with. So try and restore it to the what it's supposed to be, right? And then tuck that back. We'll replace this one when we'll replace this one. But for right now, I'll show you how I'm doing this one. And then hopefully maybe you'll be encouraged to take on such a task if somebody were to ask you. I mean, it's so beautiful. Just think of all the hours that have been put into this. The cutting of the fabric, the stitching of the fabric, how many tales were told, you know, like, I don't know. To me, it's like a whole story. And you should have a little bit of meat to come up on. And so you can come up under here and stitch across, or I'm just going between the 2 pieces that they were supposed to be originally. Always knot on the underside. If you don't know how to do a knot, this is how I do one. I'll show you on my little spool here. Okay. What I do is this way my mama taught me a whole long time ago when I used to sit underneath the sewing table and pester her. Is you take it here, you wrap it around your finger a couple times, you twist, of course now I can't do it. Twist, and then you put your middle finger over top of that knot and you just pull. And by golly, you just popped your knot out. Okay, we'll do that again because there we go. Just only two times. Little twist, pull, and then you got yourself a little knot, okay? Don't be so hairy with the knot, of course, that's I'm trying to show you. That's why it's going all weird, okay? Actually, a couple of friends came over today and they were talking about a French knot. Okay, there we go. Okay, there. Now you guys, that's a knot that will stay under the fabric and not pop up on the other side, okay? So that's how you do it. Or you can just look online and see if there's something that helps you out. But that's how I do my knot. And it hasn't failed me yet. I've done lots and lots and lots of quilts. And you just work your way. I try and come in like so it has like a 1/4 inch. And you're just doing your back and forth. Trying to keep consistent. I probably put a little bit more in front of me here. So there we go. Sorry if that's... Hope the little camera. It's got everything here. Like I love the pink. You know, this is kind of like, what was that, drapery? Where did that come from? And but it's pretty. It's pretty. It makes it. That's what makes it all so unique. Okay, and then just a little back and forth. Not big stitches. Not too tiny stitches. Try to be consistent with. I'm trying to be exactly what is on the rest of the quilt, right? Okay, just work your way. I thought it was an interesting way because using another bit of heavier fabric, or it's or a flannel, I guess, is underneath of it, and as a base. So I'm not sure if I've ever seen that before. And then just using another piece of fabric underneath. It has some good weight to it. But I think if you put batting in it, it might be a little bit too heavy. But you got to use what's on hand, right? That's the idea. I mean, they used to make them out of potato sacks, right? Wasn't it? All sorts of things. Sugar bags, flour bags. All right. Almost there. Do-do-do. Alrighty. And then I'll flip it over and I'll stitch it down. And that's one little triangle repaired on this pretty quilt. I'm trying to get both of those fabrics in there because there was one layered on top of the other. I'm just trying to make sure I get in all those 3 layers without stitching to my underside. Okay. Because you only want those stitches to be seen where they're supposed to be seen, when it's all supposed to be stitched together. All right, okay. So there's that one, okay. Now we're going to flip this piece, tuck that corner under, bring this up here, tuck that, we could probably trim that a little bit since it seems to be a little long, okay, just a little to get that piece tucked in there, okay. Where's my needle? Okay, there we go. I don't want to lose it in my tucking here. Okay, Some you're going to have to fold your 1/4 inch seam allowance under, right? And then stitch together. And I was using a bit of a ladder stitch to go back and forth in between the two pieces together. Okay, there we go. It's just a matter of tucking, and you can toss some pins in there at this point to make sure it's gonna stay where you want it to stay, so you can get those stitches down. I'm leaving the binding to last. That way I can just stitch all the way around it. Fold this guy under here. He moved. Okay. Okay, pop a little pin in there. Okay. So I'll tie off this stitch under here. Put those two together. And tie a little knot. And that's just coming really close and then using your little loop that you have left over to tie a little knot in. And then I usually come back through the fabric a little bit down farther and then up again, and then that kind of loses the tail, it buries it on the inside. Okay. And then for the other side, joining it from space to space, or piece to piece here. Okay. It's a lot of shifting fabric, so sorry if I'm blocking the little camera there. Okay, tuck this. Okay, I'm gonna have to clean up some of these stitches here. The ones that you were pulling out. Okay, tuck that there. This goes here. All right, so because I still need to replace this one, I'm going to stitch it to the underside here. Okay, see how I've tucked that seam allowance under? Moving the little black threads. Okay. And then you're going to have to meet those two edges up. Just tiny little stitches. I think it's super cool that they didn't matter what they put in it. Just whatever. Whatever mixes. Got a hole in my shirt or ripped my shirt, that'll go to a quilt. Sounds like me. All right, now we're getting close to the other part here. Oops. A little closer. There. And then when these two other pieces here are replaced, we'll stitch them together. But you get the idea. So I hope you're not going to be afraid to tackle on something like this, or maybe even start your own hand-stitched project. So, sorry, wrong camera. This one was up into my face. So anyways, to maybe take on your own little hand-stitched project. Doesn't have to be anything big or huge or something like that. Maybe just a lap quilt or even, you know, family items or clothes that are, you know, you liked them, but they're, you know, maybe not in fashion anymore. Just recycle them into something else, right? You can. It's no big deal. All right. Okay, so just plug away at this. Many hours are going to be ahead of me. And then I have another one here. It's got a different actually design pattern to it than this one right here. I'll show you. This was the second one. Okay, just tuck that there. And it's way different. It's a totally different style. So check that out. And there's quite a few pieces on this that need to be repaired right here on the edge here. There's the faded, the blue. So I'm going to have to mimic these stitches the best I can when I'm taking this in and out. Like I want to do it the justice that it deserves. I mean, there's so many different fabrics. Like and the texture of them are just, it's unbelievable. It's like dress pants and draperies and, you know, whatever. I think there's wool in here and the velvet. Velvet. Flux. All right, thanks everybody for joining me for this weekend project. I'm really glad you stuck around, and hopefully it just gives you a little bit, I don't know, a little more freedom to try something different. Try something new. Okay? Thanks everybody. Catch you next time. Don't forget to check out Longer Wednesday. Okay? Thanks. Bye-bye. Thanks for liking and subscribing. It's greatly appreciated. Love you guys. Thanks.